high-quality connections, respectful engagement. The outcome I was trying to achieve was to make my friend feel supported, listened to, and loved. For the sake of anonymity, I will call her Jane during this presentation. I decided to conduct this mini experiment with Jane because she's currently involved in a toxic relationship and she's trying to find the courage to leave the man that she is with. She has expressed to me that she doesn't trust her own judgment anymore because her partner has belittled her to the point that she has very little self-esteem left. They've been together for 3 years and they have a 9-month-old daughter together. Jane has stated that the majority of the past 3 years has been negative and that her boyfriend's behavior has escalated each time there's been another problem. And this is why she's decided that enough is enough and she is trying to get out. The action steps I planned before calling Jane, she lives in another state, were to be present in every moment, ask engaging questions, don't offer advice unless I was asked for it, don't interrupt even if I believe that what I have to say can help the situation, use active listening techniques so that Jane knows I am giving her my undivided attention and that what she has to say really does matter. This situation was a little tricky when it came to creating my measures of success. We never really know what someone else is feeling. My goal was to make sure Jane left our conversation feeling loved and listened to, so I decided to compare her behavior during this phone call with her behavior during our typical calls. When I approached the scenario with Jane, I felt a little anxious because I wasn't sure if I would be able to overcome my natural chatty impulses and allow Jane to process her feelings and thoughts the way that she needed to. I was also optimistic about using the techniques I chose to implement because I knew if I could execute them properly, then there was a really good chance that I could accomplish the goal. According to my measure of success, the outcome was very positive. Jane laughed more during the phone call than any other phone call that I can remember. I asked engaging questions that left space for her to process her thoughts out loud in a caring setting. And this phone call lasted significantly longer than most of our previous calls, so that was very telling to me regarding the success of the experiment. And overall, the biggest insight I left with was a tough truth. I do talk too much sometimes. I forget to listen. So I guess the old saying about us having 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason is true. Reflection. During the conversation with Jane, I felt a sense of calm that I didn't expect to feel. As I was actively listening, my mind began to calm down because I wasn't trying to figure out what I would say in response when she was done speaking. I also felt more connected to Jane because I gave her space to speak without interruption, so that naturally led to her opening up about things that I didn't know about her but probably should have. So far, what I have learned from using high quality connections is that most of us are sort of pretending to listen as we wait to reply during conversations instead of listening to understand what the other person is trying to communicate, myself included. In the future, I plan to implement HQC techniques with my fiance, my other friends, my son, and my peers when we get a study group formed, and as we continue in our interactions during study groups and discussions. When on the receiving end of HQC, I need to be more receptive and more open-minded. Oftentimes, I'm guilty of letting myself believe that people are not being authentic when they use active listening. Up until now, I had never tried it myself. What I discovered is that in order for someone to use HQC techniques during an interaction with me, they have to care. They have to be authentic because HQC uses a significant amount of emotional energy. If someone doesn't value me and care about their impact on me, then they wouldn't put in the extra energy to use these techniques. As I compare this approach with the appreciative inquiry technique, I see similarities due to them both being rooted in positive psychology. The feedback I have received from using appreciative inquiry has been positive and continues to bring new insights to the situation that I use the technique for.